Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and on today's show, I'm going to be ranking the top 5 Raiders trade candidates before the NFL trade deadline. The way that I figured I would do this show is go from 5 and work my way all the way down to 1. When you see the rankings, essentially what they're going to be are the players that I think have the best chance of getting traded. So the player that's ranked number 1, he's got the best chance of getting traded. Number 5, fifth best. Makes sense. With the NFL trade deadline being November 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern time, Jeremy Fowler has put out multiple reports out there that you're going to see. You're going to see teams get active. You're going to see teams really try to make some moves. There were almost like 9-10 moves, I believe, at the deadline last year. So I anticipate the Raiders to be one of those teams because as far as I'm concerned, you're sitting here, you're 1-4. You got the third most salary cap space. It's do or die, and I don't think Josh McDaniels wants to sink right now. Let's go to number 5 here on my list for Raiders trade candidates. It's offensive guard John Simpson. Now, when the season started, Simpson was the starting left guard, and I told a lot of you guys in the offseason, I don't think Simpson ends up being the starter for the entire year for a few reasons. One, I think Dylan Parham was overall a better player, and we've seen so far that Parham's actually like one of the best offensive guards already in the National Football League when you look at the PFF numbers. The other reason is this. Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, if they didn't draft you, if you're not one of their guys, see you later. And I think that might happen here with Simpson, who hasn't played since week 2. So out week 3, out week 4, out week 5. 4th round pick in the 2020 draft. He is scheduled to be a free agent in 2024. Personally, when I look at Simpson this season, I don't think he's actually played all that bad. Yes, he struggles at time to time in the pass blocking game. He's strong, though. If you need a player who you have confidence in to help you pound the football, run it a little bit, Simpson could be a player. Now, I don't know how many teams want to start him, but in terms of having him as a backup, could be something to look at. 125 snaps overall, 63.6 grade, pass blocking grade of 55.1, a run blocking grade, according to PFF, at 65.1. When you look at the Raiders' offensive line depth chart, as it stands right now, Simpson is your backup guard to Parham, and as well as Parham has played, there's not going to be a change there. Also with Alex Bars, that's somebody who has a lot of connections with some of these Raiders coaches, especially in the front office, so I don't know if Bars is going to go anywhere. You know that the Raiders like Jermaine Illuminor and Thayer Munford, so to me, the offensive lineman that has the highest chance of getting traded, his name's John Simpson. And if a trade happens, I'm going to go live. I don't care who the player is. We will do a live video if the Raiders make a trade. So hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, because when trades happen around here, Raider Nation knows how to get down. And I'm ready to get down, always with the nation. Let's go to number 4 here, Johnathan Hankins, defensive tackle for the Silver and Black. Hankins was a player that when the Raiders brought him back this offseason, I was like, okay, it's a good move. We needed the run stopper. However, you drafted 2 defensive tackles in the 2022 draft who have not really done anything in Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell Jr. On top of that, though, this is a player where, and I think a lot of times when you look at trades, when you try to look at rumors, I always like to say you got to read the tea leaves. The fact that Johnathan Hankins was a healthy scratch in week 5, very eye-popping to me. The fact that he's going to be a free agent in 2023, I've had conversations with Hankins. I've been in Hankins' home before. Hankins is a good player. He's a good dude. He also knows, though, that his NFL career is nearing the end. And maybe if he got traded, I don't even know if he would accept it, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know. I do know this, though. He looks older. He looks like his body's slowing down. Maybe he's preparing for a different part in his life, giving more attention to family, which I don't blame any player for wanting to do that. Now, in 107 snaps, an overall grade of 48.6, a pass blocking grade of 49.5, a run blocking grade of 52.6 overall. The fact that he was a healthy scratch and the fact that the Raiders have had players like Kendall Vickers step up, Andrew Billings has been a big-time surprise. The Silver and Blacks still have a huge need at defensive tackle. I don't really think many people would dispute that. To me, though, not one of your guys brought in new defensive tackle talent. For that reason is why he ended up making the list. Now, we still got 3 more names to get into, but hey, not only do we make videos on YouTube, I make videos over on Locals as well. And one of the cool things about Locals is you guys can get extra content, exclusive content from me, but I also put a lot more power in your hands. If you watched our Monday night show where we did a watch party for Broncos and Chargers, I let our Locals watchers decide our Super Chat menu. They picked what we did for likes, what we did for $10, $20 Super Chats, all that fun stuff. Locals puts power into your hands. And if you're a diehard Raider fan, join our awesome community at RaidersReport.locals.com. Scan that QR code right here. Challenge me in our NFL weekly Pick'em Challenge. It's more, if you want a laid-back show, I promise you're going to love Locals. RaidersReport.locals.com. Number 3 here on my Raiders trade candidates list, it's Malcolm Koonce. Let me be very clear when I say this. I like Malcolm Koonce, and I personally think that the Raiders should use him more. In fact, I'm going to straight up tell you right now, the Raiders aren't using him correctly. When I listen to coaches, staff members tell me things like, oh, we believe Alex Leatherwood can be a right tackle, I look at people in the face and I say, that's either them lying to your eyes or them just simply trying to make something happen. The only thing that I can come up with here of why Koonce isn't getting more reps is because he's not one of McDaniels and Ziegler's guys. He has played 21 defensive snaps, only 6.3% of the time. A third-round draft pick in 2021. Do I think that pick was a little bit too high? Yes, I do. Is he undersized? Yes, but you know what? The Raiders have not really been able to generate a lot of pressure. If Chandler Jones was, killing it out there, I wouldn't mind it. Now, Jones did have his best game against Kansas City, but you know what? To me, Koonce deserves a little more playing time. 21 snaps is not enough. And the fact that he's not playing, even when our guys who are out there on the field aren't showing up, to me that tells me if they were able to get something for him, you could see them make a move. Now, his overall PFF grades here, 64.0, which it is what it is. And then considering the fact that you're going up against other players in the backfield, like Clelin Ferrell's been okay. Chandler Jones hasn't been anything special. They haven't even really used Deshaun Bauer, and Deshaun Bauer was a player that I think a lot of us were hoping we could see a little bit more out of because of his awesome preseason. You're going to make the argument, hell, he would have been the preseason MVP. But going back here to these PFF grades, a pass rush grade of 61.4, a running grade of 61.0, like, he's had opportunities to be really great, and I hope that the Raiders could use him a little bit more. So if you're looking right now, I'm looking at all of you. Who's the real one out there? When I say spam R.O. Ferrell, these are the real Raider fans. These are the people that I don't care if you're 1-4. You're watching Raiders content, and you rep the team, silver and black, womb to the tomb. Real ones for life. Where are you at? If you're that person, spam it down in the comments. Number 2 here on my list for Raiders trade candidates is Johnathan Abram. And the top 2 names probably isn't going to be that much of a surprise because they've been linked by Jeremy Fowler in a trade. The reason why I'm going to put Abram here at number 2 is because the Raiders have already declined his 5th-year option. Fowler linked him and said, hey, the Raiders are shopping him, and he's going to be a free agent in 2023. I've set up on multiple shows here, and I've said there's a 0% chance Johnathan Abram returns to the Raiders. There was a part of me, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. First 2 weeks, I thought Abram actually looked better. They used him as a box safety. The issue is this. When he's out on the field, he's a liability. If the Raiders are in the lead and you know that a team's going to, chuck the ball, I don't want him out there. If you think that the Raiders are losing and a team's just going to run the football, then okay, you can use Abram in those situations because I have watched Abram now for multiple years. He's one of the worst coverage safeties in the NFL, and to me, that's not going to change. When you look at his PFF numbers here, it's 47.6 overall, a run defense grade of 45.3, a pass rush grade of 67.9, coverage grade of 48.5. At the end of the day, you do not have any faith in him whatsoever covering anyone. And in today's NFL, I want safeties that can cover. I told y'all when the Raiders brought in Duron Harmon that he was going to start getting more snaps than Abram. Week 5, guess who got more snaps? Duron Harmon, Trevon Merrick, most snaps at safety. Yes, Abram has still played in at least 75% of the snaps in every single game. I love the energy he brings. I love the hard hits that he does. I think you could use him more in special teams overall. But we got to face the facts here. Johnathan Abram is not going to return to the Raiders next season. And if you believe that you can get a 6th-round pick for him, you do it. If you think you can get a 7th-round pick for him, it makes me sick at times. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Coming in here at number 1 for our Raiders trade candidates is Clelin Ferrell. Not too much of a surprise, and a lot of the things that I've already mentioned here around Abram, same thing goes for Ferrell. You declined his 5th-year option. Fowler has said that the Raiders are shopping him, and he's going to be a free agent in 2023. As far as I'm concerned, if a team is willing to offer you a 7th-round pick, you take it. Which, let's just say it sucks. Clelin Ferrell is a big-time bust. He's going to go down as one of the biggest Raiders busts for the simple fact of he was drafted number 4 overall. No, he's not even close to Jamarcus Russell. He has been better this season, and even when I go back and look at his 2020 numbers, it's been better. But if you're drafted in the top 5, you're expected to be a premier edge rusher, and he has not been that. He looks undersized. I don't know if he's just not motivated. He just looks like he doesn't have a lot of confidence. But in his 96 snaps this season, he's done an okay job. 67.6 overall grade, a 68.7 run defense grade, 62.8 pass rush grade. The NFL, there's always going to be somebody out there that says, you know what, I can make Clelin Ferrell something. I thought Ferrell deserved to be drafted in the 1st round when he was coming out of Clemson, and I also believe that there's going to be teams out there that still think that they can do something. So for that reason, Ferrell's number 1. So this is what I want you guys to do if you made it this far in the video. Take a screenshot of this, post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram. Don't be afraid to tag me. This is the whole thing where I'm like, hey, add me as a collaborator. Let me know what you guys are thinking. These are your opportunities to do that, and I can share it on my Instagram as well and then help you get some more followers as well. So I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. My top Raiders trade candidates before the deadline on November 1st, 4 p.m. Eastern Time are number 1, Clelin Ferrell. Number 2 is Johnathan Abram. Number 3, Malcolm Koonce. Number 4, Johnathan Hankins. And number 5 is John Simpson. So which Raiders player is the most likely to be traded? I want to know from the nation that made it this far. Shout out to all of you. The player most likely to be traded, repping silver and black.